Hey everyone, it's Nico from the blog documentingsimpleliving.com, where I talk about simplifying food, self-care, and consumption in the modern world. Today I'm going to be making sourdough discard granola. Now, granola isn't something I would normally think to use sourdough in, but actually why it's nice to use sourdough in granola is because it helps to hold together the oats and whatever else you put in your granola, so it's a bit more crunchy. Usually when I make homemade granola, I just use some oats, honey, coconut oil, and whatever nuts and seeds I have on hand. But when you add sourdough discard, or you can even use just sourdough starter to make this, it helps to just hold it together a bit more and have an added crunch. Making granola at home is so simple and so much more economical than buying granola at the store, especially if you are someone who's looking for organic granola that's high in protein and low in sugar, because at least here in the UK, that kind of granola in the supermarket costs like £6 for just a tiny little box, which is insane. So all you need to make granola at home is oats, coconut oil, and some sort of sweetness, either honey or maple syrup. And I have used both, but today I'm using maple syrup. So you can combine 6 cups of oats into a large stock pot and then add a cup of coconut oil and a cup of maple syrup or honey. And turn it on to low heat until everything is melted and all of the oats are completely covered in coconut oil and honey or maple syrup. You want to make sure everything's completely coated, because when it goes into the oven, that's what gives it the crunchiness. So after the oats are completely covered, you can add in whatever kind of nuts or seeds or dried fruit or coconut or anything that you have on hand that you want to have in your granola. I'm using mixed nuts and pumpkin seeds because that's what I have. But you can use, again, whatever you have on hand. After you have added the nuts and seeds to the oats, which are already covered in coconut oil and whatever sweetener you're using, remove everything from the heat and stir everything together so that the nuts and seeds and whatever else is in your granola also is completely covered in coconut oil and the sweetness. And finally, add in 1/2 cup of sourdough discard. I'm using my mature starter today, but that's totally fine. It doesn't make any difference. So just putting in 1/2 cup of that starter, mixing that all together. Put the granola onto baking trays lined with parchment paper, put them into a preheated oven for about 45 minutes. And the oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or about 180 degrees Celsius. Now I am using my cast iron skillets today instead of baking trays because I just thought it would be simpler. I don't want to get off parchment paper. I'm always trying to simplify, no matter how small the simplification is. So I just wanted to give it a try, see if the granola would get as crispy as it normally does, and it turned out it did. So this is definitely what I'm going to be doing moving forward, avoiding parchment paper and baking trays and just using my skillets. So whenever your granola is in the oven, it's nice to, like once or twice, so every 15-20 minutes, use a spoon and move everything around to make sure that the granola is equally toasted on all sides. When it's finished and golden brown, you can pull it out and use your hands to break it apart a bit, and then just store it in a glass container on your countertop. The granola itself is so good because it's not overly sweet. It's not the sweet flavor that sometimes supermarket granola can have, which is just that processed sugar flavor. This has the deep flavor from the maple syrup, and it also has the flavor of the toasted nuts, which I really like. And of course it has the sort of tangy and earthy flavor of sourdough as well. If you were looking for other ways to use your sourdough discard, during the colder months. Make sure to go to documentingsimpleliving.com. I have a full list of tons of different sourdough discard recipes that would be great to make at this time of year. For all of them, you can also use a mature sourdough starter. So if you're just looking for very quick sourdough recipes to make, all of the discard recipes would be great options for you. I'll leave a link to all of the discard recipes in the description below. So I hope you enjoy making this sourdough discard granola. Super simple and a great snack to have on hand, especially when it's cooler. I just love the warmth that anything sourdough brings in these cooler months. But until next time, thank you for stopping by, and I will speak to you in the next Documenting Simple Living video.